All righty, guys. I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Once again, my name is Ramasio Fulcher, the California kid, right here from California. I want to welcome each of you to today's Millionaire Mentorship Call. We've been doing this call for the last 3 years. We do it every single Sunday. This call is brought to you by Networking Wisdom. And on this call, if this is your first time joining us, this call is typically for anybody who's involved in direct sales or network marketing, regardless of whatever company you're with. We don't discuss company names. We don't discuss company products. Those two things we do not talk about on this call. But this call, as I said, we've been doing it for 3 years, and there's two major focal points on this call. Number one, we teach you the specific skills that you need to get yourself to the very top of your business. Doesn't matter what you're promoting. But the second skill that we teach you is life skills. We know that as you grow as a person, your business follows, and that's the way it works. And so we've been doing it for 3 years. We don't know if there's one person on this call or a million people on this call, and frankly, I'm really not concerned with the number or quantity of people on the call. We know that a lot of people listen to the replay, and so the call will always be recorded. It's uploaded to the website less than 24 hours after the call is over so that you can pull it down and re-listen to at your disposal. Now, one thing I want to share with all of you before we get started today, a lot of times people ask me all the time, why do you do this call every single Sunday? Every Sunday we've been doing this, okay? The reason why we do this is we believe gifts are meant to share and not to keep. We also believe that what we make happen for others, God will gladly make happen for you. And so literally it's about giving. It's about giving real value, and that's why on the call we're always wanting more of thee and less of me, right? So we're not interested in talking about a company or any particular product. We're interested in teaching you skills that you need to get yourself to the next level. And so, guys, let's kind of dive into this wonderful series that I'm really excited about. Last week we began a new series entitled Favor. And I know that on this call, we have a lot of people that represent a lot of different nationalities and a lot of different belief systems. I know that a lot of people that are listening are not necessarily believers. Some are believers and some are not. And I'm glad that you're here. And this word favor, we're not going to go back to what we talked about last week, but I want to encourage you, if you missed last week's call, just send me a text message or social media or whatever, and we'll get you the replay so that you can hear the beginning of the series, because today it just gets better and better as we talk about, this is part 2 of a series that we're doing entitled Favor. We know that not everyone really understands, what do you mean when you say favor? Are you talking about please pass me the ketchup, do me a favor? No, we know not everyone has a correct understanding of what the word favor means. And so last week, we pretty much took you from the genesis of what favor is, right? We talked about that last week. We talked about how you can go from things happening to you randomly, because that word travels around anytime goodwill is, done for a person. They think it was just a random occurrence. And so you can go from random to things being intentionally by understanding what favor is and how to attract and have more and more favor on your life. We all know that we are living in some very interesting times right now with what's happening, both in the health scare that we're all faced with, but also the economic side of things because of COVID-19. And so literally in these times that we're living in today, this couldn't be a better time to unveil this call, really driving the nail in, talking about favor. So this is why we want you to reach out to people that you know to get them to hear what we're talking about on this call. And as I said, this is a series, so we won't be finished today. In fact, we're going to continue with part 3 next week. And I'm telling you, what I've decided to do is bring what I call the heavy hitters, right? I'm talking about people that not only I look up to and respect, but people that have an enormous amount of favor on their life. Some of you might call it the Midas touch, but I like to think of it as much bigger than the Midas touch. When you start really understanding what favor is, how favor works, and how you can have more of it, let me tell you, It's like one of these subjects that once you know about it, you want more and more and more and more of it. And today, guys, I have the pleasure of bringing somebody that is very dear to me, very personal to me. And this lady here that you're getting ready to meet, when we talk about favor, it's just all over her. It's all over her. Now, I want to give her the proper introduction because not all of you know who she is. Her name is Dr. Clarice Fluitt. And today I'm going to be interviewing her as we talk about favor. Dr. Clarice Fluitt and I, we met probably about 6 years ago or so, maybe longer than that. It could be 6 years or 7 years. I actually met her on an airplane. At this particular time in my life, long story short, I was looking for a spiritual advisor, but I wanted someone that wasn't going to be overly churchy, someone that really knew the Word of God, and someone that could break it down for me, right, in bite-sized pieces to where I could understand. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes you can read the Bible and you hear the yay and the thee and the thous, and I don't know, I just fall asleep because I can't understand what they were saying. And so, long story short, we hit it off, and I brought her into my life, and I'm very grateful as my spiritual advisor. And I can tell you my life has definitely changed for the better in a multitude of ways, What I enjoy most about Dr. Fluitt is not only is she well-known all around the world, and I'm going to let her talk about that, she's one of the best in the world at what she does. And what I like most is that she breaks it down. She keeps it simple. She's a lot of fun. She's not one of these people that speaks to you in a way that makes you feel like you're being condemned, but she knows how to deliver the message just for you. And you're going to see what I mean. You're going to really see what I mean. Now, one of the other things I want you to know is this month, ladies and gentlemen, it's her birthday. She's turning 80 years young this month. And I know that because of the not being able to fly, we were planning to go and be there with her at her birthday party. But, guys, I'm letting you know the lady you're getting ready to hear from, she sounds like she's 25. And she's full of a lot of life, a lot of energy, and I think all of you guys are going to really, really enjoy who she is. Towards the end of the call, I'm going to let you know how you can find out more about her and where to find her if you want to connect with her, because I would gladly love for all of you to be able to do that. This is literally what I call a voice of wisdom in desperate times, and you need accurate wisdom. That's what everybody needs. It's not about how much money you make or don't make or where you live or what side of the tracks you're on. What we all need right now is more favor upon everything that we touch. And so I'm really excited to bring her to the call. Dr. Fluitt, are you there with us?
I am right here, and I'm ignited, excited, and delighted. Let her rip, fellowship.
Let her rip, fellowship. I like how we start that. Well, thank you for being here with us. It's definitely a pleasure to have you. She's also like a second mom to me, so you may hear me in this call refer to her as mom. Well, I'm just glad that you're here, and thanks for joining us, and I can't wait to really, really take the lid off this thing and really begin to talk about favor. So thanks for being here.
My joy. I look forward to having the opportunity to inform, transform, activate, and ratify.
Absolutely. We definitely need all of that, Mom, all of it. So let's start off with talking about from a basic level, how would you define what favor really is? Just kind of give us some, your take on this complicated big word of favor. What does it really mean for us basic people, and how would we break this down? What does it really mean?
Well, if you say it's really interesting. There's a company called Favor, and what they do is it's a delivery company, and they deliver food and they deliver all kinds of things, and they have named their company Favor. Do me a favor. Run this errand, do this, do that. That's not what we're talking about. It's not somebody doing a kind gesture for you. It's where the most amazing thing, we live in a society where we are learning that seed faith, when we talk about a seed faith, every seed reproduces its own kind. What we have to learn how to do is to be very careful in our countenance, our conduct, our conversation, because when you release kindness comes back to you, full measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, and that what you sow, you will reap. And so when we are kind, when we're thoughtful in our conversation toward one another, choosing to believe the best, trying to make peace and not war, then an atmosphere surrounds your being, and then there is people are going to love you when you tell the truth, when you are kind. Just very much when you said tonight, the reason we're doing what we're doing is that we want to take the gifts that we have and to be able to share them with other people. Self-promoting will take favor away from you. People see through it, immediately. But if you are authentic, if you are transparent, if you are genuine, they're going to see that. They're going to know it. So the favor of man is one thing. The favor of God is another thing. And what we want to do is to be able to have that wonderful favor of God in our life, because it's when we're talking about what's the meaning of favor, when we say something done or granted out of goodwill rather than from justice or you're going to pay me money for it, that's to ask of favor. But what we're talking about right now, the thing that's going to just transport us to another dimension of the intention that God has good things for all of us, regardless of where we are. But supernatural favor is an awesome blessing. It's obtained from God, and it's part of our inheritance as believers. It's based on what Christ has done for us as our Savior. It's interesting, we're in the Passover season, so we're learning about the favor. Supernatural favor it's a privilege. It's a special right. And so I've just found that it's like when I was a kid, they used to say, I'm rubber and you're glue, and what you say about me, it's going to stick on you. That we begin to say, if you put negative out into the atmosphere, negative comes back to you. If you put positive, like you do, you put so much positive energy out that people want to follow you. People want to be with you because of the favor that's on you, because you're a man of integrity, because you do what you say, and you train other people, you mentor other people. You're always developing an avenue of revenue, which is a great thing. But the reason that all of this is done, it's not about I'm going to make $1 million. It's about the fact that I'm going to improve the lifestyle of other people. And that attitude, that changes the atmosphere that we live in. So does that kind of give you an inside understanding of what favor actually is?
It does, but I'd like to go a little bit further if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I really want to, it's come to my knowledge that we've got literally just thousands and thousands of people that listen to the replay, way more than ever listen to it live. And what I'm finding is they're in various different countries, and some of them, English is not even their first language. And one of the things that I've learned from this call is that so many people have been blessed by the topics and things that we talk about on this call that I would like to go a little bit deeper into favor. So you talked about the favor of man and the favor of God. So from an elementary standpoint, let's say I don't have a relationship with God. I've never been to a church, and you're talking about favor and all. Take me a little bit deeper in terms of, so favor basically it's different than someone bringing me a donut from the store, doing me a favor. You're talking about the favor of God. Like how, if I had no context, how do I wrap my mind around what this means? I'm not a believer, but I'm trying to understand this concept of favor.
Well, then you're going to be operating in what we call natural goodwill. That's where, it's an amazing thing that whether a person is a godly person or a spiritual person, the principles of faith work whether you're a believer or not. What changes that, now that may be controversial to some people, but if you do the things that God has shown us that if you do this, this is what's going to work for you. The thing that doesn't work for you is the retirement benefits, because without having a relationship with God, your eternal reward is, of course, living forever in a glorious place with God. Now, if you don't know God, and you say, well, that's an alien thought to me. Still, kindness is a principle of causing people to want to be with you, to be able to share with you, to go deeper into the things, where you tell the truth, where you speak. You're not a vain flatterer. You're not just interested in meeting somebody to see how it benefits you. These are elementary things that cause people to grow in, the whole principle. If you want a friend, be friendly. The way that you treat people is going to cause favor to come to you. If you're arrogant, if you're a liar, if you're always late, if it's all about you, if you're egotistical, I can assure you favor is not going to be in your life. Now, when we're saying, if an individual has not had an opportunity to have a relationship with God, it's such an interesting thing that I have found. We make things very complicated that aren't. It's just not complicated. I found in my life many, many years ago when I simply said, if there really is a God, and all this talk about Jesus Christ, if that is true, reveal yourself to me. And I just left it at that. And that's exactly what happened to me. He revealed himself, that there is a God. And so the principles of faith never change. The methods do. And so while we are learning, saying, I want the benefit of grace and kindness and gentleness, and I want the benefit of having favor on my life and being able to be known as a person of integrity and a person that you can trust and a person that provides for their family and that can increase. Those principles are basically the same at all times, having to do with integrity, having to do with telling the truth, having to, what you do for others. That's the important thing, how you treat other people. If you treat them the way that you want to be treated, I think they call this the golden rule. And the golden rule, the rule is that the people that do the things that produce life, they get the goal, and the goal rules at all times. This works in every area where favor becomes yours as you choose to be kind, to be loving, to be truthful, as to treat other people with kindness. I guess that's the most important thing. Kindness draws favor. And that when we treat people with honor is an incredible thing. It's just the gift of honor, knowing how to honor somebody and not to feel that it's going to be belittling to you or take anything away from you. As you so beautifully honored me in the introduction, and the people that honor you, they would hear saying this woman does thus and so and such, it puts a positive atmosphere that causes people to be more inclined to listen to what I say. If they said, who in the world is this person? But because you honored me, you put favor on me and gave me the opportunity to speak what I know to be actual and factual into the lives of those people we've never met. That's a tremendous example of how favor works. Have you got another question?
Absolutely, I do, but that was a great, wonderful explanation of that. Thank you for taking us deeper. My next question is, Mom, is there levels to this thing? I hear this. Okay, so now I understand at a basic level what favor is now, but is there levels to this? Because I see one guy, it seems like, wow, he's just blowing up everything he touched. Meanwhile, this person was, somebody gave them a ride to school today. Is there levels to favor?
Absolutely. It's like there are levels of charity. I used to think if you gave somebody $50 that was a lot of money. Well, it was a lot of money at that time to myself, and I found out that charity, it's not just in your countenance, your conduct, your conversation, but that sowing money to be able to help. Like just the other day when I was the circumstances and situations that we're looking at, I think we have at least 10 to 15 million people that right now are unemployed. And so you realize, most people live on a week-to-week basis, unfortunately, don't have a savings. And I just said, how can I help in this economy? How can I do it? Because everybody knows I'm older than dirt, so consequently, I have got to take care of myself and be cautious with what I have. That's what the world would say. I don't believe that at all. I believe as quickly as I can go out and be a blessing to somebody else, that they're give and it will be given to you. Full measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. God will cause increase and favor into your life. So we're quarantined. You can't go out. And I called a friend of mine that was going out and running around and said, would you just come back here just for a few minutes? And I said, listen, would you take a check to the Salvation Army? And would you take a check to the home for the people that are bound by drugs and alcohol, wrong relationship? I mean, I took a lot of money. I took thousands of dollars, and I just sent it out. And I sent food out. And I am telling you, I'm not the least bit worried. You know, all of my speaking engagements have been canceled for the next 9 months. So consequently, you say, what are you going to do for an avenue of revenue? Well, I'm going to sow in a time of famine, because I found out when you give, when things are hard, it creates favor that comes back to you, and you just do very, very well, because that principle of favor has worked in my life, and that I find myself at this stage of my life, I owe no man anything except to love him, and I live really good. So I hope that is an incentive.
It is, and I can attest that you do live very, very well. I can attest to that. You know, again, you said a lot there. You know, we're talking about that there is levels to this. You talked about giving in a time of famine, where we're all quarantined, people can't go outside. Some of us listening to this call don't have any money at all. Can you really tie in where giving, and not just giving money, talk about all the different facets of giving. How does that really bring about more favor on my life? Here it is, I'm barely getting by, and you're saying and you're suggesting to go out and give more? Like, help me understand how that works.
All right. You begin to realize, look around, and you say, these are my strengths. These are things that it's not all about money. I can give. I can check on the elderly. I can give phone calls. I can write notes. I can think about somebody besides me. Because if you get outside the realm of I, me, and my, you begin to flow. If you can just start thinking about, you know, the way rivers flow. I live on a waterway. And right now I'm watching all these people. It's like a flotilla of boats. It's a beautiful, sunshiny day. And waters by design flow away from themselves. In the creation of all things, rivers flow away. Every river has a mouth. And you and I, we have rivers of love and life and joy and peace, or we can have bitter waters, or we can get caught up in a little eddy, and all we're going to do is grow mildew because I don't have and I can't get it, and poor me, and whoa. Got to get your mouth right. You've got to learn how to say what you want. Words are so powerful. You know, I just share a little thing with everybody. I have a lot of grandchildren, and I saw online that one of my granddaughters, she's just a beautiful, wonderful girl, and she had written something, and she says, people are acting like idiots, and they need to do so and so. And I quickly wrote back to her, and I said, I know that you know the power of words. And when you begin to put this negative energy out, let me tell you how it works. In the reciprocity of all things, whatever you put out, it's going to come back to you. It just works. It's the way the cosmos works. It's the way God works. It's the way life works. What you put out, it's going to come back. So I want to encourage those of you. You say, man, I don't have 2 nickels to put together. Well, you've got a kind word in your mouth. You can encourage somebody. You can strengthen somebody. You can say, if there is a God that can move to help me at this point, I need to know him. And I'm not trying to get super spiritual, but you're wanting to know how favor and grace and kindness and joy and the laws of the universe work. And this is the way that I have seen it. I've got 60 years of following this pattern and seeing how it never fails. favor. I confess favor. And I do, like if I'm going to speak, before speaking to you, I just finished, I did a church service this morning, and they were in North Carolina, and I'm in Louisiana, and we're learning how to do things. We're so challenged to embrace change, and the greater the change, the greater the reward. And then I realized I need to do a mentoring on how to embrace change and how to let the favor be a reality in our life. If you want the benefit, here's the procedure. Be nice. It's just really that simple. And that you start out, and it's like a muscle. And if you haven't used a muscle in a long time and you go work out, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to think you hurt yourself. And you haven't. You're just using something that you haven't used in a long time, or you haven't used at all. And your body is going to tell you, your mind's going to tell you, oh, you can't, don't get into all that giving and all that charitable stuff. But let me tell you something. Charity is just another word for love. And love not expressed is love not believed or received. We can say, I'm going to help you out, and I'm going to do this. Just remember, you can start with words. Call a friend. Check on people. Do some things that it's magnanimous. It's a great spirit. And make yourself develop into that kind of human being. So it does have levels. It does have levels. And that everything is going to try to talk you out of walking in love, because we are self-centered. Basically, it's about I, me, and my. But if we can get to the place to begin to exercise the muscle, if you will, I can use it as a muscle, of getting your mind to set itself in agreement with whatsoever thing's lovely, whatsoever thing's pure, whatsoever thing's true. These are the kind of things you think of, because favor is like a magnet, and it goes looking for kindness and gentleness and all of these things of integrity. It will jump all over you, and it increases as you increase your attitude of a positive way.
I totally agree with everything you just said. Absolutely. Can you share a little bit about, all right, so here it is, I'm being kind, I'm giving, and I'm really wanting to have favor on everything that I do in my life. And next thing you know, all hell begins to break loose. I've got this challenge and that challenge, and I'm sitting here listening to Dr. Fluitt, and I'm trying to walk in favor. I'm trying to, but it's not. I seem to speak to the fact that just because favor is on your life doesn't mean that you won't have challenges in your life. Can you kind of tie those two together for us?
Let's talk about working out. Probably a lot of people that are online, they're going to keep their body in shape, and that there are levels of doing that. My idea of working out is taking a walk around the block. Yours is sweating and pulling and pushing, and, I'm going to get this body under control. If I tried to do what you do, I probably would have a stroke. But see, we have to understand these things come in increments. We begin to have a way of thinking, and we think because, like we say, you think because you work out and you say, well, I'm trying to lose weight, and the more I try, the more weight I gain. It just seems like that I'm not gaining anything. It's being faithful with the little things. Faith is like a muscle. And anything that you do, you're going to need faith in, regardless of what you put faith in. But there has to be some faith, some element of hope, some element of joy. You have to know how to strengthen yourself with joy unspeakable. And when all of these negative things come in, I have this wonderful word that comes raising up in the midst of my being that I read in the Bible that helps me. It says, nothing that comes against you can prosper, and that no trial or test is come against you, that God will not give you the strength. He's already given you strength. He's not going to give you a pop quiz. If you find yourself in a challenge, in a bad situation, it's not because you don't have what it takes to get to the other side. It's just you've got a great big vision, And it's going to take a great big amount of self-control. It's going to take learn. If you want the benefit, there's a procedure. There are people who their belief is eat, sleep, reproduce, and die. That's where they are. That's where their vision is. And they don't have a vision. And without a vision, you perish. You absolutely die. And it says the wonderful thing is people perish from a lack of knowledge, and that they just understand, say, wait a minute, I need in my life, I need joy, I need love, I need kindness, I need relationship, I need correction, I need mentoring, I need all of these things, and that you put yourself in a position to become teachable, and you look at somebody's life that's working. Just because you're challenged, listen, I was just doing so wonderfully well. Things were going well, and I just came to a place where I was an only child, and my husband's an only child, and his desire was, he's in the real estate business, and his desire was to make millions of dollars, and my desire was to spend all his money. So we had a very workable relationship. And then we have these 5 children, and then we have an encounter where I want to understand what's life about. Talk to me about grace. Talk to me about favor. Why is it that I'm living in this beautiful place and things are going well for me? I got all concerned about poor people and people that were on the street. I mean, it became a burden in my heart. I said, what can I do to help people? Well, I had a housekeeper, and you just got to hear this out, because this is the way you learn. You have experiences that bring you to change your mind. And she was the sweetest thing, and she had 5 children, and I had 5 children, and she helped me so much. And she didn't know how to drive, and of course, if she had known how to drive, she didn't have a car. So I'm going to be magnanimous, and I said, Maddie, I'm going to teach you how to drive. And she just said, oh my goodness. That was so far beyond what she was thinking. And she says, oh, Miss Clarice, she says, I don't know that I could ever stretch that far. I said, you can. And I said, I'm going to take you to school, and we're going to get you a high school degree. And I said, I just believe you've got so much more talent and ability to do this. And she didn't have aspiration. She didn't have vision. I was going to change her with my great vision and my great and her desire to please. Well, I taught her how to drive. I got her a car, and then I went to her house, and I'd never been to her home before. And for 7 people, there were 3 little rooms, and that grown people, like 4 people in one bed, no bathroom, no hot water, no toilet, no nothing. And I thought, oh, this is so terrible. So I immediately I had to borrow some money, and I said, I'm going to build you a bathroom. I'm going to get you a hot water tank. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change your life. But I never asked her if she wanted her life to be changed. I was trying to put my way of doing things on her. I was feeling good about me. I was relieving my conscience. And in the midst of this, it turned out to be terrible. They would fight it. The kids would fight about who's going to have the car. So one of them took the wheels off of it altogether. So it just up in the sitting in the driveway, and nobody could use it. And if one of them wanted to use the bathroom when the other one wasn't in there, they decided they'd just tear the toilet out. So all of these things, when you try to put things in people's lives that they really don't have a vision for, so you have to know those that you labor on. I find for me that I have a lot of good ideas, but those good ideas where you're going to put favor out, the most important thing is that you talk to people before you decide that you're going to put your vision on it. Because, see, there are people that will hear what you have to say, and because you're so ignited, excited, and delighted about it, and you're strong and you have a vision, that's going to cause them to say, oh, yes, and they expect you to carry them the rest of their life. But there are some champions out there that you can invest yourself in. There are some men and some women that are going to hear a certain sound, a frequency, a vibration, and it's not going to be something, just a good idea that you had. My good idea did not help this family at all. Trying to get people to be a part of what you're doing when that's not what they want to do. That's a study in folly. And that for grace and faith and for love and for kindness and for mercy, you have to find your tribe. You have to find those people that can hear your heart and that they recognize and they realize favor, the favor of God, the favor of man, the favor that comes in getting yourself in alignment. It will empower your assignment.
Well said again. Dr. Fluitt, you talked about people that want the benefit, but they have to go through the procedure. And then you also talked about that there's levels to this. Can you talk a little bit further about what is some of the procedure? Now, you talked about being kind to people. You talked about giving, these sorts of things. We got that. But can you elaborate a little further? What is more of the procedure for those of us that are aspiring to just literally walk in favor in everything we do, and it's just always with us, and we just always seem to rise in every situation despite how disparate may be? What are some of the procedures that we can look forward to going through?
You can look forward to understanding that self-control, to discipline. Discipline is so important, because when we give our word and we say we're going to do something, we're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, short of death, we need to be people of our word. And that when that becomes a reality, when you realize that when you tell somebody something, that you need to be telling them the truth at all times. And that, we just don't want to say, look, it went bad. I thought it was going to be this way. It wasn't that way. That you have the integrity, and I'll use that word many times, the integrity to do this. The levels begin with you getting before. Sometimes we just have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? This is good, this is good, this is good. This is something I need to work on. I need to watch my mouth. I am negative, and I'm putting people down, and other people challenge me, and I feel jealous or insecure. So consequently, I say things about people that I shouldn't be saying, and I'm motivated wrong. I've got to get my motivation concepts in line with truth. I've got to find out what truth is. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't understand that, there is an enemy in this world, and he really doesn't care how high you go. He cares how far you fall. And so we are learning how to contain our vessel, that you begin to say, whether it's lust or greed or avarice or any of these things like this. If you're given to a lot of strong drink and a lot of strong bad behavior, you're never going to have favor in your life. You may think you do, and when you're cute and you're handsome and you've got everything going and you're young, yippee-ki-yay, I'll tell you what, it'll last for a little bit. There's pleasure in sin for a season, but the enemy will take you further you want to go and keep you longer than you want to stay. So as you begin to make this decision, again, we can use it like developing your body. If you're 40 pounds overweight, don't expect to go to the gym twice and get it worked out. It's not going to be that way. You have to commit. You have to commit. You have to do it over and over again. I'm going to practice. How do you do? Nice to see you. You're looking good today. Not vain flattery, but you learn how to build other people up. And you learn how to be able to look and find something good to say. Most people, unfortunately, they'll come into a room, and the first thing they'll do is what they notice of what's wrong. This isn't right, or that's not right. And we get geared with that negative thing of always viewing things. The glass is not half full, it's always half empty. That type of thought process will keep favor away from you. It will repel you. But you can create with the fruit of your lips by calling the things that are not to literally become the things that are. You can look at your checkbook that says there's no money here, and you can say, you lying thing right now, I command the riches that are mine to come in. I call wealth from the north and the south and the east and west. I see myself as somebody that is kind and thoughtful and generous. I'm a speaker of truth. I'm a person. I'm a man or woman of integrity. And as you begin to put those words out, what happens, your brain doesn't know anything except what you tell it. If you say blah, 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 all this negative stuff, brain says, oh, put the hormones out of here, because they believe they're sick and down and out and poor. Their children are bad. This is bad. Their marriage is bad. They're sick. The doctor says they got the yippee-ki-yay, and they're agreeing with it, and you don't have any hope for anything. Favor doesn't come unless you are filled with the desire, with the vision to walk in integrity, in truth, and love. That produces an atmosphere that favor cannot resist.
Got it. That was really helpful. So can you also tell us what are some of the things that actually, or let me say it this way, can you reiterate, because we just want to take some notes here, what are some of the things that can really block favor from really, really abounding big time in our life? What are some of the things that will block it from happening for us?
We all have different values, that what we think is to know a thing is wrong and to do it. Your conscience becomes seared every time you do something that you know is wrong. Now listen to what I'm saying. It's very important. When you say it's not nice to knock an old lady down and steal her purse. Now, I know nobody would do it, but I'm using a far-reaching example. That's not the thing to do. But you just decided, I don't have any money and she's pretty helpless, so I'm just going to push her down and take her purse. I know that was wrong, but I did it anyway. And then the next thing, I said, well, she had $150 in her purse. And old ladies are easy to push down. So I'm not going to ever do that again. We say that. But then we get out, and it was hard to do the first time, and then it gets easier to do it the second time, and then the third time it becomes a way of life. So we begin to remove the boundaries that say, don't go there. We begin to go beyond those boundaries of whatsoever things are lovely and pure and true and of good report. We violate our own conscience. And when we do that, we put ourselves in a situation that we draw to ourselves negative energy. There is, when I read the Bible, it says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. And what that means, they're demonic forces. You can't see them. It's kind of like this corona. We can't see it, but we can sure tell where it's been. We see the trail that it leaves. And when we're in our life, we see the trail that's going on. If I'm continuously, always in a negative situation, I'm going to fight drugs. I'm going to fight alcohol. I'm going to fight lust. I'm going to fight greed. I'm going to fight all of this stuff, but I'm not fighting it at all. I'm a victim. And how do I become victorious? How do I develop? It's line upon line, precept upon precept, a little bit here and a little bit there. You're not going to be an instant success. Say, I'm just some great opportunity. Somebody's going to discover me, and I'm going to just plummet into all kinds of things. When I was 30 years old, the governor of the state of Louisiana, his name was James Ano, very, very wealthy man, and his wife was very sick. And I felt great compassion. I went to see her. I went to see him, and I offered to pray for them. And I did, and I'm telling you, it really, really touched that man's heart. And he just called me, and he says, he had all kinds of TV stations and radio stations and everything. And he says, I've thought about it, and he says, I'm going to give you an hour TV show. And he says, and all expenses paid, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I thought, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I've been trained. My degree is in music and art and drama, and I know that this is where I'm going. Oh, this was just the best thing in the world, and all paid for. It was just the opportunity of a lifetime. Didn't do anything to do it. It was just a gift. And I thought, well, possibly I need to pray about this. And I prayed about it, and this thought came to me, which I later got to know that it was God, and it said, you don't know anything. What are you going to get on a TV program? What are you going to tell people? You don't know anything. You can shuck and jive, but you don't know anything. Wisdom is the ability to use knowledge skillfully, and you don't have knowledge that's going to, you're going to do it someday, but not now. And do you know, and I've done a lot of things. I got more degrees than a thermometer, but the thing that I'm doing television, I have my own television program, a weekly program that reaches millions of people, and it's called Wisdom to Win. Now, with that, I had a promise, I had a vision that someday I was going to be extremely successful in this way. This is where my gift was, my talent. It only took me 15 years to get there. So if your vision is great, I'm not going to tell you it's going to take forever, but possibly had I walked a more disciplined life, listen to me, and I walked pretty disciplined, but the fact is my vision, I let go of it. And I began to say, well, I just need to be a wife and a mother and just settle down and do this and do that. And when you begin to have other people get in your ear and tell you that your vision is not valid, it could put you off a long, long time. I'm talking to you from experience. Delay is not denial, but then it is not the heart of God to delay anything. He's wanting you to prosper quickly. It is the will of God for you to prosper, for you to be in health, for you to be, healed, delivered, walking in joy and peace and love. So knowing that now, I can teach it now. Just ask me a question, I can tell it. But 50 years ago, I didn't know what I know now. I didn't have the experience. A person with an experience is more valuable than a person that just has a doctrine. We need somebody to manifest something besides an opinion. Let me see something. Let me see you walking in, and no man anything. Let me see you walking in health. Let me see you walking in integrity. Let me see. And that's the thing that causes favor to come looking for you in every possible direction. So the steps are discipline. The steps are, write the vision, make it clear, do a vision board, get a picture in your heart, make declarations, begin to say, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, this is how I'm going to get there. You'll forget this conversation. You'll remember a few things. You'll probably remember the stories, but as far as the content of what will cause favor to come upon me so I can succeed in everything I put my hand to. The principle is develop your integrity, develop your vision, and don't get in too big a hurry to do this, but you can go fast. As fast as you want to go, you can go. I believe
Mom,
that
this is
with my
some
whole heart.
This is some really, really good stuff, and I want to encourage all of the listeners that are here live and also be listening to the replay. Guys, listen, do yourself a favor and listen to this call at least 3 times. She is packing in literally decades upon decades of wisdom in literally minutes. And as I'm listening, I'm just sitting here thinking, I can't wait to listen to the replay myself. What I want to do is I want to rewind just something you just said to kind of add some color to this. You talked about how literally you had this dream and this vision to actually be on television. And obviously now, today, you have your television show that you're doing every Wednesday, and it's reaching millions of people. And by the way, I am on there, by the way. But you talked about, you said possibly if you would have been a little bit more disciplined, instead of it taking 15 years to materialize this television show, it could have happened sooner. You then went on further to say that again, discipline kind of, literally really parallels or brings favor to you faster. And then you also said that God wants you to prosper. He wants us to prosper in health and also in wealth quickly. Can you really unpack that? That for me was really, really heavy of how you were really saying that according to the Word, He wants us to have it quickly. It's not supposed to take forever.
It is the will of God that you prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about our soul, it's your intellect, your reason, and your emotion. The reality is you are a spirit having a human experience. You are a spirit that has a soul that lives in a body. Now, that might be some new thoughts for people. You're a triune being, and that our intellect, reason, and emotion makes the deciding point. Will I be a spiritual person or will I be a carnal person? The carnal mind is at enmity with God. So when we begin to say, well, all that information, I want the benefit, but I don't want the procedure. I want to be sober, but I don't want to quit drinking. You understand the dichotomy that goes in there. I want to go swimming, but I don't know how to swim, so I don't want to take lessons. I don't want to do what I have to do to get to do what I say I want to do. So basically, I have this vision of this is just a real fun thing. When I was just a kid, I was 6 years old. It was a determining thing, as far as who's going to be an entrepreneur. You've got to wonder. There are people, you get a vision, and there are people in your life that are going to absolutely encourage you and just be, yes, you can do it. They can bring correction without rejection. Those are the kind of people you want to be with. Don't let people correct you that don't love you, because it's going to cause all kinds of disappointment. But I had this vision as a child. I'd gone to a movie, and I saw this wonderful movie with a woman named Esther Williams, and she was an incredible swimmer. And I'm just 6 years old, and I'm looking. She's beautiful. She wears beautiful clothes. Everybody loved her. And there was a little caption in there that she swam, and it was a cartoon. She was swimming with Tom and Jerry, who were my favorite cartoon characters at that particular point. And I knew at that point, I'm going to Hollywood, and I'm going to swim with Esther Williams. And she's going to love me, and I'm Tom and Jerry. I'm going to be a little Miss Esther, and I'm going to wear all these beautiful clothes like her, and da-da-da-da-da. So I go home, and I tell my mother. I say, Mom, I have decided what I'm going to do with my life. And she said, really? And I said, yes, I'm going to Hollywood. I had no idea where that was. I am 6 years old. 1946, it's a long time ago. And my mother said, honey, you've got a problem. Well, in our life, when people come up, when you are hit with an infusion of things that seem impossible for other people to do, need to hear what I'm saying, and you have this infusion of, I can do this, and my mother comes and she says, you've got a problem. I thought, well, you ought to be for me. You shouldn't be against me. And she said, honey, you don't know how to swim. I said, Mom, it can't be hard. I just watched her. She never messed up her hair. She never did this. She never did that. And she said, Clarice, you don't know how to swim. And I said, well, get me a teacher. It can't be hard. And she got me a teacher. And I tell you what, I went to the swimming pool, and I'm not going to tell you all of this, but that was the meanest man I think I've ever seen in my life. You're going to have mentors and coaches, and some who stroke you and some who choke you. Mr. Jack was interested in one thing, and that was teaching me how to swim. And I was interested in one thing, and that was him to know how wonderful I was. And it just seemed to escape him that I had this great vision. I'm going to Hollywood. He could care less. And so he says, when I blow the whistle, get in the water. And the water was 3 feet deep, and I was 3'4". So it came right to my nose, and I'm hanging onto the side of the pool. And he says, turn your head left and right, put your head under the water. And I said, I'm not comfortable doing that. I had too much mouth, and I couldn't follow instructions. Now listen to me. There are those of you that listen to this call. Your idea is always better than somebody else's. You don't know how to follow instructions. You don't follow instructions. You're not going to read anybody else's instructions. You're going to rewrite it. You're going to make it your own way. Well, that was sort of with me at this point. I had come in with my water wings, which he promptly took away from me. He was just, I did not like him from the beginning. And he says, put your head under the water. I said, I can't. He said, yes, you can. I said, no, I can't. He walked over and put his foot on my head and held it under while he counted to 5 slowly. I realized then, I don't like Mr. Jack, but I can put my head under the water. It can happen. And you can do it easy or you can do it hard. Life is like that, beloved. I am telling you, he says, now we're going to learn, the second day he said, we're going to learn how to do the dead man's float. And then we're going to learn how to do this. And we're going to learn. I thought, my God, when are we ever going to learn to swim? I've got to get to Hollywood. I've got this vision inside of me. I have to do these wonderful things. And on the 5th day, I told my mother on the 3rd day, I said, the man doesn't know how to swim. That's all there is to it. You need to get me another coach. And my mother said to me, she said, honey, I've already paid him, and you're going to go to class. You're going to learn to swim. And she says, you'll never start something without finishing it. You need to have people like that in your life. She loved me, but she wasn't going to put up with my foolishness. And so I went back, and on the 5th day, he said, all right, line up. There were 8 of us. He walked past the 3-foot water, the 4-foot water, the 5-foot, got down to the 12-foot water. He said, all of you can swim today. And I'm telling you, I thought my heart was going to pass out. And I said, Mr. Jack, I don't know how to swim. And he said, yes, you do. And I said, no, I don't. I do not know how to swim. And he said, just kneel down like you're going to pray. And I thought, like I'm going to pray. I am praying. I am telling you for sure. And I'm looking around, all the little kids, they all knelt down. He says, put your hands together and just fall in the water. He says, then you can kick and you can pull, turn your head to the left, the right. And he says, if you get tired, just go ahead and tread water. And then if you really get tired, he says, just turn over on your back and do the dead man's float and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I can't. And he said, yes, you can. He says, I'll help you. Mr. Jack once again launched me with his foot, pushed me into the water. And I found out things that you learn in the shallows of life will equip you for the deep things. You're not going to be an expert just because you're cute, just because you've got a great vision. You're going to have to go through the grooves. That's all I can tell you at this particular point, that you have got to understand that this vision that you have, though my mother depressed me, telling me that I had a problem, because I just saw the good part of it. I don't want to hear all this bad stuff that I can't do and I'm not qualified and nobody's ever done it before. I'm going to do it. Well, I never went to Hollywood, but I tell you what, I became a wonderful swimming coach, and then I became a marvelous life coach. And the things that I learned from Mr. Jack that I'm still gleaning today, because he forced me to embrace the procedure so that I could get the benefit. Now, does that answer some questions for you?
It sure does, and I want to say thank you so much for all of this. This has been spectacular, guys. This has been spectacular, Mom. I'm just really enjoying it, and as I said, can't wait to re-listen to the actual replay. Before we go ahead and let everybody know how they can connect with you, in closing, what are 3 simple steps that people could, if they were to take this entire call and take everything that you know about favor and how it all works, what are just 3 little 1, 2, 3s that people could do to begin to unlock favor amongst their life? What's something that people could actually do? Just 3 quick steps.
1, learn to like yourself. There's so many voices that's speaking and saying you didn't do this, you should have done that, da-da-da-da-da. You've got to come to the place that just when there's nobody there but you, that you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm a good person, and that I am kind, I am thoughtful, I am a person of integrity, and if there are areas that you need to improve on, just simply say, I've done it, it was wrong, and I'm sorry, I need to get right with myself. Until you love yourself, you really can't be too nice to anybody else. Too many things that are bugging us. So getting right with yourself. And then, of course, getting to the place where you practice kindness. You practice it. It's like a muscle. You've got to use it, and that you walk a disciplined life. And that means something different for all of us. And you put before yourself a vision and just say, without a vision, the people die. They perish. And so you have to don't let the enemy abort your dream. Get with people who believe in you. Get with people that celebrate you, not tolerate you. You don't need that. And so it's all about life, and you want something that's positive. We're living in some really challenging times where everything is in great, great metamorphosis. We are about to be turned into a bunch of beautiful butterflies, but the process of turning from a worm and the time that we're spending in the cocoon can get kind of agitating because everything is changing. I mean, big changing. So the things that work, the principles of faith never change, but the methods do. So I hope those things are being instrumental in the decision making. Remember this, a decision does not bring about a change, but without a decision, change never will happen.
Absolutely. Thank you once again. And I want to give every single one of you that are listening a way for you to stay in contact with Dr. Fluitt. She speaks all around the world. She's literally, I would call her larger than life. She really is. She's very humbled in spirit, but very effective at what she does. And I mean, literally from TV to personal mentorship to traveling when we are able to travel. I mean, she just really, her number one goal right now is to pour her wisdom in over 60 years of her experiences in all areas, finances, relationships, spirituality, just you name it. I mean, she's just loaded, seriously. And her number one goal is to pour into people like you and I. So I want to show you how you can actually stay connected with her. You can follow her. You can contact her on the website and figure out what the pricing is to enroll in courses, all that good stuff. I highly want to give you access to my personal spiritual advisor who I love dearly. Here's how you can find her. It's ClariceFluitt.com. Let me spell that for you. It's a website. ClariceFluitt.com. One more time, ClariceFluitt.com. You can go there. And I know that she's got something really special that she's got planned between April 14th through May 5th. It's a specific training that she's doing. I'm sure you'll see it on our website when you go there. It's live group mentoring directly with her for April 14th through the 5th. You got to remember, guys, we are living in some very, very interesting times. And this is a time where, honestly, I want to say this with all conviction, like never before, you've got to understand that what we cannot see in today's time is far more important than what we can see. In other words, I'm talking about having a relationship with God, really, really understanding what's happening from a spiritual perspective, how you can position yourself and protect your family, but also how you can thrive in these times. Again, we're going to talk about that in later calls. Matter of fact, next week's call is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see the heavy hitter speaker that we have lined up for next week. But I want to make sure you guys get a chance to connect with Dr. Fluitt, because when you start talking about spirituality, everything what you can't see is far more important than what you can see. And I'm not saying that I'm a scholar at this, but definitely this is a topic that, guys, you want to begin to unpack. I know that there was a whole enchilada that was just provided with us today, a lot of content, a lot of detail in what was talked about today. Again, we kind of summarized it with those 3 simple steps. Number 1, loving yourself. Number 2, practicing kindness. And number 3, practicing discipline. Just take what you can from this call and meet us back here again next Sunday. Same time, same phone number. Again, next Sunday will be part 3 of this series of favor. This is going to be an explosive series. I want to encourage you to be here free of charge, but do us a favor. What you learn from this call, don't keep it to yourself. Spread it with other people. Spread it with others. Remember, what we make happen for others, God will gladly make happen for you. I want to say thank you again, Dr. Fluitt, for coming on with us. And to all of our listeners live and on the replay, listen, always remember, in all that you do, always remember, there's nobody any greater than you. Listen, I love you guys dearly, and we'll see you guys all on the next Sunday mentorship call. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks, Dr. Fluitt.
You're welcome. God bless everybody.